Hey everyone, welcome. Today I'll be talking about how to use Bifrost and Arnold Operators together to create some pretty powerful workflows actually. So let's start. So I have this asset here and it has a small hierarchy, just a leaf group with different with 4 shapes, and then I have a bark group, right? As you can see here, I have 3 different shaders. One for the bark, one for the leaves A, and then one for the leaf B. So one of the issues that we're having right now, and people have been asking about this, is how we can basically scatter this guy, right, and not lose the assignment. So if I bring these guys, right, I'm gonna hide now the hierarchy here, and I connect this, and I just gonna do dome light and hit render. So we see our tree, and we see our tree with all shaders apply, right, the different ones. As you guys know, the issue is when I try to scatter this. So let's create very quickly a plane. I'm gonna cursor points, and then we're gonna create an instance. And let me make the plane a little bit bigger. I'll connect this here so I can change it automatically. I'm gonna do 100, and then also I'm gonna grab the tree. I'm gonna make it smaller because it's too big. And let me actually do something very quickly here too. I'm gonna say camera off, and also on the viewport I don't want to see. Still gonna render, by the way. Cool. So if I now connect this guy here, right, we're gonna see our trees, and those are way too many. I'm gonna just do 10 so we can see what is the problem. So as you can see now, the issue is that Bifrost is saying, oh yeah, I have 5 objects in this array, and it's trying to scatter those, right? So to solve this issue, obviously we can merge this. And if I now connect the merge, we get the correct input or output basically from the instance, but we lose everything. All the shaders apply, right? So if I try to render this, I mean, I don't have to, but it's very clear now. We get everything. Basically, we get like the first, whichever was first applied to it, right? No ideal, and this has been an issue right now. So basically, I want to talk about the solution for this. So let's disconnect this. I'm gonna pause the graph so it doesn't compute, and I'm gonna go back here to our asset, and then I'm gonna apply just a normal yeah, just this guy, the default material here, right? Cool. So now we're back, and if I try to render now, it's gonna be the one without any materials. Great. So first things first, I'll export this guy. I'm gonna delete these 2 because I don't need them, and then I'm gonna grab the asset tree, and then I'm gonna export this as a standing and as. So I'm gonna go to scene export, and I'm gonna say export selection to as. I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna override this guy right here, and you can uncheck whatever. I just need the shape here and the shader maybe. You don't even need the shader really, but it doesn't really matter in this case. So I'm gonna export this, and I'll make a new scene. I'm not gonna save. Cool. So I'm gonna load the as back into this new scene, and actually I'm gonna copy the path from here. So I'm gonna grab copy, paste, go here, and grab the tree. Cool. So we have the asset. I'm gonna turn off the grid. The grid, and then I'll load them as a shader. And if I hit render in this new scene, let me create another dome light here real quick. we see the tree, right? Cool. No shaders, nothing. And then if we look at our standing here, our ass, we can see the hierarchy that was exported basically from the old one. And as you know, or maybe some of you guys know, you can use operators right here on the ass, and this is great. It gives you like a lot of flexibility here, and it's pretty powerful, right? Because again, you save the ass and you can do as many things as here. But we want to do it. We want to use it in the graph. So to do that, basically you need to bring a render archive, right? I'm gonna kill the frame property, the point frame, because we don't have any animation here, and I'm gonna open this asset again. So I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna grab the 3100 asset. I'll do the same here real quick. I'm gonna go into the dome light. And actually, let me see, visibility, viewport, yes, 0, and camera 0 as well. Cool. So you guys know, if you try to connect this here, you cannot preview this, right? Even if I add a match here to have as a preview for this. Oops, not this, instance preview, and then let me make this bigger. You won't see it. Even if I hit render here, nothing shows up, right? Because we need to create an instance to see this archive. So if I create an instance, instance, create instance, and I'm gonna create just one point right now. So I'm gonna create a value. I'm gonna change the data type to a vector 3 since it's position and not a scalar. And I'm gonna create a construct points to create the point. I'm gonna do fan in since it's just one value. Connect this guy here, here, and then if we look at this, we see the cube, which is just a preview. Obviously, you can grab the tree and then create like a very low res proxy, and then you can connect it right here. But for these purposes, this is just fine. So if I hit render now, should see, and we do, we see the tree with no shaders at all. Great. So let's talk about operators. So I'm gonna bring them, and we have all these guys here. I'm not gonna talk about all of them in depth, but basically what we're gonna touch on today will be the set parameter and the merge, basically, and I'll just show you how the look switch works. But some of them are very straightforward, like the string replacement. Basically what it's gonna do is gonna look for some path here, so you can look for something in your name and then change that. The disable can disable shapes, lights, and whatnot. The switch operator just basically switch inputs. Set transform basically just transform any kind of shape that you want, and then material X basically you can load material X from the internet, or you can create your own and bring them into with this operator, right? These two collections basically what allow you to do is just have different looks and then import them and export them into different scenes. And by the way, all these are render time. You can use all of this render time, which is actually that's where the power comes from. So let's talk about the set parameter, which to me is one of the most powerful ones, because you can actually change stuff like, your common ones like matte, opaque, visibility, curves. You can invert the normals, change the radius. The same with NURBS, points, the same thing. And then you have polymesh. You can do a bunch of stuff and then custom. I really encourage you guys to go into the documentation and look at this when you can do, because you can do pretty crazy stuff here. But for simplicity, I'm gonna just do the shader, and what basically this allows you to do is just connect a shader. So it's very simple. So let me create a standard surface, and I'm gonna drag and drop this guy here, and I'll just change this to green. And to connect an operator into Bifrost, there's a couple of ways. One, you can bring the graph, and then if you press 4, there's an operator input here, so you can connect this directly here. The other one, which is more useful, is drag and drop this here. And as you can, if you look at the node editor, when I leave this out, it's going to create an operation reference. I'm sorry, an operator reference. The difference between these two, basically this outside, when you connect it to this, is applying to the shape. And when you do it inside, is if you open the rendering here, right, you can apply it to the, basically to this as. So obviously, you usually don't want to apply stuff to the shape of the Bifrost graph. You want to apply stuff individually to each object. So I'm gonna just disconnect, no, that one, this one, and we're gonna use the one inside, right? So if I connect this here now, remember I apply this standard surface right here, and if I hit render, this is not gonna work. Oops. You can see that it's just, yeah, we have the default shader before we brought it in. Why is that? Because the set parameter here, right? Actually, I need to be outside. The selection parameter doesn't have anything. And actually, this guy here, you can do quite a few expressions, and they're very powerful again. So it really, I know that I'm repeating myself, but I encourage you to go to the Arnold documentation and look what you can do here with expressions, because you can do a bunch of crazy stuff and very powerful ones. But for simplicity, what I'll do, let me actually bring reference the scene, and I'm gonna just hide it because I'm not gonna use it. I just want to change you the hierarchy and the naming. Right, so if let's say that we want to apply this to the whole thing, you can just do /3 and then say that group /*, and this means basically that it's going to apply the whole shader to the whole thing. And there you go. And this is nothing special because we know that we can apply an assigned material here, right? So if I do assign material, connect this guy, and then I right click here, I can create a standard surface right here, right? And this is great to render stuff on the graph, but if you have one shape. So if I disconnect this here and render, there you go. So this works just fine. Cool. But again, this works on one shape at a time, basically, which is good, but not very powerful. Or, you know, sometimes it's fine, but sometimes you need more control over what you want to do. And that's why we're talking about operators, right? Because they allow you to basically shape by, you have full control where you want to put this operator, this parameter, basically. So now I can say, instead of just the top hierarchy, give me just apply this shader to the bar group. So I'm gonna say bar_group, and don't forget the slash. And if I do this now, basically there you go. Look at this. Look at that. So now, as you can see, we have a pretty powerful way to shade and look the inside Bifrost. You could do this already outside, obviously, but we are inside Bifrost and using all the tools, you know, and start looking them in our tree inside here with groups, and not worry about, you know, merging and whatnot. So if I create another set parameter here, and if I create another standard, and this time I just create that color, and then I'm gonna grab this, I'm gonna add a shader, drag and drop again, and this time I'm gonna bring it into the graph so it makes a connection, and then connect it right here. I need to give it a selection, that why it's not being applied, but let's say that I'm gonna do all this to, let me switch the order here, because I'm gonna grab this, copy this to this, and then this is gonna be to the leaves, basically. Cool, look at that. So now basically we are looking deving inside the graph with groups. Remember that what I showed you at the beginning, with groups here now, and we can change, apply textures and whatnot, and we can even be more specific here. So I'm gonna actually load a demo scene that I have, but as you can see, it's super powerful. I mean, as I mentioned before, there is a way to do it with the merge geometry, by the way. I know that I said that it's not, but it's not very friendly. There is like a workaround with collections. It's not as straightforward as this. And then if you're using Arnold, really and then using operators is going to be the way to go, because it's basically this also kills the translation time, and Arnold is going to read this automatically. It's going to be very fast to load instead of doing shapes here and all that stuff. And obviously the drag back of this is, if you are not using Arnold, well, yeah, this won't work. And if you guys want me to show you this workflow, let me know and I can do a different video. Also, another way to do this, just so you guys know, another option will be USD. And USD actually can do everything. You can do face assignments, you can do object assignments, and basically have a hierarchy like what we have here, but in a much better way, and then apply different materials to that, and basically create variants of that asset and apply different materials to that asset and all that stuff. But again, USD is a different beast. I can do a different video on how that works. And then also, by the way, what I allow you to do is use different engines. And right now, the only engine that can be used inside the graph without have to like either saving as an ABC or a VDB or converting to a Maya Geo is Bifrost. But you have to use it through the Hydra delegate, which is that is the only drawback right now. There is no render SDK yet. Hopefully that's coming soon, so other engines can use, and then we can have an assigned material like for V-Ray, Redshift, Renderman, and whatnot. Right? That will be ideal. Anyway, that is a talk for a different topic. Right now I'm talking about Arnold and operators and how powerful they are. So what we can do too with this too, let's say, and then we can add different set parameters here, and this can become quite busy. So in order to make it all our graph neater, I'm going to use a merge, because a merge, basically what the name says, allows us to merge inputs. So you can do it two ways, either from the node graph or here. And if you do add an input, you can say which one you want to merge. So I can, well, there's other stuff, but I can do set parameter 1, and then if I grab this and I grab the out, I can just connect it. So now I can grab the merge, drag and drop, disconnect this, and just connect the merge, and that makes the whole thing neater, right? And if I hit render, we should get the same result basically, as you can see. But everything is more organized. We have one merge, and then also the good thing about this is that you can create this and then export this collection with a look switch. So there's like a lot of powerful, and let me just touch, now that I'm saying the look switch, I'll touch very briefly on what this can do. Actually, this might be better suited for the demo scene, which I have more material, so let me do that now. Alright, so I loaded the demo scene. The only difference between this and what I was doing before is that instead of having a point, I have a plane, made it 250 by 250, scattered some points, randomized scale, random and rotation, and then I have two as file with two different looks, and a create instant, which I have a terminal, which is going to the final diagnostic. Remember, final renders, proxy and diagnostics, just as viewport. You can change this, but that's the default. Cool. So, to touch very quickly on the look switch node or operator, basically what these guys allow you to do, if I go here, you can definitely, where the node says, add different looks. So I'm going to be very generic on the naming, and I'm going to say look 01, and then I'll connect what do I want to match this look to the merge one, and then I'm going to create another one and I call it look 02, and then I'm going to connect merge 2. So basically I have a way to switch between these two looks now, and you can have multiple, obviously different merge or different set parameters, and then connect this into here, so you can have a lot of variance for just one asset and play with it and see which one looks better and change it and all that. So full control over the looks. And the cool thing too is that you can have this and then export everything as a collection and then import it into a different scene, for example. One thing, if you try to drag and drop this guy here, that won't work. So you need to connect it into the input right here, into the outside input. So the operator here in the Bifrost graph shape. All right, enough of that. So I'll go to my camera. I'm gonna hit render, and as you can see, I have different trees with different sizes, rotation, and then different looks. This is a little bit lighter, as you can see. Maybe you can see it, maybe not. And then that one is a little bit darker. The light is very simple. I have a dome light with an HDR and then a spotlight. That's it. So if I graph these two, I have different parameters for each one. So one with 2 and then one with 3. So if I grab that, press that, and then this, great. So this guy I have just oh, and then another thing here that you can see that I'm using these expressions now. I'm not using the full path of the naming of the name convention for this, and it's just because I'm lazy. I don't want to type everything, but you can do this with the asterisk. Basically, it's going to grab the full path for you. The same if you go this way. So now I have bar group, leaf group, but I don't have to worry about like doing 3 that group underscore that group, bar underscore that group, or leaf, and then so on and so forth. If you have a big hierarchy, this is very small, so it wouldn't matter. But if you have a big hierarchy, you want to start using these expressions. Again, just to repeat, go to the Arnold documentation and look all that you can do, because again, you can do crazy stuff with this. The other thing here that I'm doing too is that I'm being more specific. I'm applying a different material to now leaf B. I have one material, and then for leaf A, I have a different material, right? And let me see if I'm missing something here. Oh, and then just in case for one, again, the reference, I don't need the reference. It's just here because I wanted to see the hierarchy. And when you export an as, I mean, remember a reference, export a name space, but you don't need that for this. It's just in case, so you don't get confused. Cool. Let's move on. So I have a few materials now with textures and all that. So I have a bark. I have 2 bark materials. One with, I mean, they're basically the same. They just one have a color correction and then applying a different hue. And then I have a leaf material with also color correction. I have a flow constants here that are connecting to change the hue into, for both of them basically, for the surface and then the base color, right? So if I do something big like, I don't know, 0.5, and as you can see now, leaf A, which I believe this one is the one that I have connected to, leaf B, yeah, leaf A is the one that is changed to blue, right? And you can see that change there. But again, here is like we have fully procedural control of our asset without even going to the original, just with the archive, right? So if I want to change whatever, I can do it very easily here. So it's pretty powerful. Just let me change this a little bit to green. I like it better. Then if as you can see here, I have 2 as 301 and 302. It's the same as file, but if you try to copy and paste this guy here and have the same name, but let's say that you want to apply this operator, and I'm going to disconnect here this one. Basically what it's going to do is it's just going to apply one look to the whole thing, no matter what. And to make it more obvious, I'm going to change one of the materials to a blue shader here, right? Like this. So it's not respecting the other look. Whichever is first is going to get applied, basically. So in order to fix that, you just need to give a different name to your as. So what I did, basically copy and paste this in the folder and then just give it a different name, and that's it to fix it. So if I apply this now, we're gonna have two different assets again and two different looks. And if you get this, you just need to update the scene, and there you go. So as you can see, just to repeat myself one more time and last time, is we have full control of our assets here, full control of our hierarchy and groups and whatnot, and you can do everything inside Bifrost, you know, and you know, you can start creating your library or whatever you want to do here, have different trees, different and whatnot, and use these operators in conjunction with this to have full control over everything that you need, and then use the power of Bifrost for scattering to do that. I think I covered everything that I wanted. If you have any questions about this workflow, let me know. And again, if you have any questions about how to do this with USD or the workaround with the merge geo node, let me know and I can cover those later. But for now, I think I'm gonna say goodbye and thanks, and hopefully this was helpful. Anyway guys, until next one, cheers.